The reading today comes from Matthew 5:38. You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you that you must not oppose those who want to hurt you. If people slap you on the right cheek, you must turn the left cheek to them. When they wish to haul you to court and take your shirt, let them have your coat too. When they force you to go 1 mile, go with them too. We'll drop down to the last sentence. God is complete, and so must you be complete. The Greek text is telos, and here it's translated to complete, but it would be better translated to whole. I have a dream. Indeed, I have had it since childhood. It starts with a prayer, holy, make us whole, body, mind, and soul. I envision a circle of healers formed within a faith community who will covenant with one another to become more abundantly whole, to become a family within a family, honing our skills as healers, from which we can embark on a new way of healing, a whole person-centered, integrative approach. The biblical Greek word sozo, often translated as salvation, is more accurately translated as whole. Faith communities are meant to make one another whole. I believe wholeness starts with spiritual grounding, a medicine absent in our American healing institutions. To be sure, there are many tools in our medicine bag. However, I am convinced we become holy only when the healing comes from all that is holy. Our medicine bag must include modalities of spiritual grounding, a sense of self-esteem, the realization of personal dignity. My father was full-blooded Eastern Band Cherokee Wolf Clan. In Indian country, a priest must be trained as a physician, and a physician trained as a priest. Amongst my father's people, we experience spirituality and medicine as intertwined into one. I yearn to be a healer of body, mind, and soul, so I set out to become a priest and a physician. When I arrived at seminary in my early 20s, I discovered a great deal of what I was previously taught about the Bible was just flatly untrue. As I learned Greek, Hebrew, Aramaic, and the tools of New Testament scholarship, I discovered the impact of many misleading teachings. For example, today's text from Matthew chapter 5. How many times have we heard, if someone slaps your face, turn the other cheek? The esteemed New Testament scholar Walter Wink teaches, when Jesus invites us to turn the other cheek, often we understand his words as a form of naivete passivity. If someone strikes us once, we roll over and let him strike us again. Such a response misses the point. Telling a battered woman to submit to further assault from her abusive husband violates her safety and dignity. It plain violates Jesus' teaching. Rita, would you come up? So let's assume I cannot use my right hand for reasons which will become clear in a moment. Jesus' instructions are specific. If someone strikes us on the right cheek, we should turn the left cheek. If someone smacks us in anger with his right hand, the blow would be on the left cheek. The left hand in Middle Eastern culture of the time was considered unclean. Not a lot of quilted northern ultra plush toilet paper in the first century. The left hand was used for wiping the butt. The right hand was used for everything else. A person would be fined for waving a left hand, let alone hitting somebody with it. The only way to hit someone on the right cheek using the right hand is to backhand her. A backhand slip did not show aggression. Indeed, it imparted humiliation. In a culture where honor was paramount, to strike an equal in such a degrading way was carried with an exorbitant fine. Thus, clearly, Jesus is describing a situation where a person of position of power strikes an inferior with the intent of humiliating her. A master to a slave, a Roman to a Jew, a wealthy landowner to a moneyless peasant. Turning the other cheek leads to something remarkable. When the person knocked back from being backhanded steps forward and offers the other cheek, that person stands taller, reclaims her center, asserts personal power, and radiates an emboldened dignity. Non-verbally, she is essentially saying, try again. Your first blow aimed to humiliate me, but I refuse to let you. This places the aggressor on the defense. The aggressor cannot backhand the person again, as that right cheek is now hidden behind the assertiveness of turning the left cheek. In that day, to strike her with a palm or a fist would acknowledge her as an equal, a victory in and of itself for the victim. An aggressor's attempt to humiliate an inferior has backfired, and his power to dehumanize another has left him humiliated. Turning the other cheek when confronted with violence hardly represents an exercise in masochistic passivity, as we are often taught. Rather, it is an empowered form of action that refuses to be humiliated, and inviting the aggressor into an appropriate mutual relationship. Jesus is teaching us to stand tall, to be grounded in the knowledge that we are each a child of God, remembering nothing can separate us from the love of God, maintaining our dignity and to be whole. Jesus' second example additionally requires close examination. Palestine was an occupied country. A Roman soldier could requisition a Jew for servile tasks. Roman legal codes, however, placed limits on such forced labor so as not to incite unnecessary unrest. A Roman soldier, for example, while hiking between posts with a heavy pack, could force a Jew to carry that pack, but only for 1 mile. If the soldier exploited the situation and forced the Jew to carry the pack farther, the soldier could be punished by his superior, perhaps fined or even flogged. What happens when the Jew, forced to go 1 mile, follows Jesus' invitation and goes an extra mile? The Jew's response places the soldier on the defensive, and the soldier may even beg for his pack back so as not to get in trouble. Once more, the person victimized seizes the initiative, refuses to be humiliated, and walks with a power and a dignity, a sense of grounding, a wholeness, that the victimizer cannot erode. Similarly, Jesus' third example refers to a specific context. Who is sued for a coat? Only the poorest of the poor, the homeless person, so mired in debt that he literally owns nothing but the coat on his back. With the accumulation of land and wealth among the urban elite, such poverty and indebtedness were rampant in Jesus' time. People were in debt without a means to repay and with nothing left to confiscate. As a token of collateral, a destitute debtor could be sued for his coat, his very last possession. However, since the coat was all the debtor had in which to sleep, Jewish law demanded that the creditor return the coat to the debtor each evening, only to confiscate it again once more in the morning. The cloak Jesus refers to served as the undergarment, the only other item of clothing the debtor would be wearing. If the debtor, following Jesus' invitation, gave his cloak as well, he would be standing in the courtroom stark naked. Nakedness was taboo in Jewish culture, a sin. It brought shame, however, not on the person who was naked, but on anyone who saw another person naked. Once more, the victimized turns the table, steps into personal power, and seizes the initiative, exposes injustice, and refuses to participate with the forces that dehumanize. Jesus' spiritual path offers bold, creative, and empowering options in the face of violence. It does not fight back with violence. That would only escalate the hostility. Nor does it passively submit to the abusiveness of the situation. It resists violence, but with courage, initiative, and a backbone of dignity no oppressor can ever break. Again, Jesus teaches the impact of self-esteem in maintaining our wholeness. Wholeness starts with self-esteem. Self-esteem starts with knowing in our bones we are a child of God, of all that is holy, no better, no worse than the next person. A sense of rootedness in our uniqueness, our God-given calling, our purpose, our dignity, our wholeness. The lack of dignity, self-esteem, or wholeness can express itself as stress. Stress in the body, mind, and soul. The relationship between stress and illness is complex. The susceptibility to stress varies from person to person. Some factors that influence one's susceptibility to stress-induced illness include genetic, vulnerability, coping style, type of personality, diet, exercise, and social support. Not all stress has a negative effect. There are studies that have shown short-term stress can boost the immune system, but chronic stress has consistently evidenced a significant effect on the immune system that often ultimately manifests in illness. Much illness starts at home or neighborhood, or it's related to a person's job. Faith communities can help people start the healing process in the earlier stages of illness. Indeed, prevent illness. Prevention is treatment. Within the Abrahamic traditions over my lifetime, I have witnessed a quiet revolution interweaving health and spirituality based on self-esteem and dignity that is changing the face of healing practices across the world. Yes, I have a dream in which Shadow Rock joins this revolution. Embrace a whole person approach to healing. Over the next year, I would like to cultivate a community of healers, setting the bedrock upon which our collective and individual healing work toward wholeness can emerge. Might you join me? Amen.
Amen.